Now let's get to our TV recap. Ray Donovan, Bob. Sunday night was the second episode of Ray Donovan, which we are currently recapping, even though it's on probation after the first episode. It shows some potential, but it might have to get better for us to stay with it. That's what we said at the time.
Yeah,
Um, so let's dive into it, huh? I have to admit that I'm still asking myself some key questions about this series, Bob. For
right.
example, just from a story construction, do we know what Ray wants? What he needs? What drives this dude?
No, other than getting back at his father, because that's the immediate need. But and even then, we don't know why or what purpose or how. If you read the episode recap, you go to your on-demand cable and it's like, here's what happened in the episode. I read it and I'm like, oh, I would have never have thought that that's what happened in the episode. This is one of those shows. It's like Ray constructs a plan for how to get back at his father, and I'm like, really? That happened in this episode? Like,
What was
not
that plan?
exactly. What's the plan? He constructed it. I think that was a stretch of a description. So
Yeah,
yeah,
getting back at his dad. He's so mad at his dad, and it's hard to know why because everyone else in the family, who presumably knows him almost as well, they
right.
are happy to give him another chance. I mean, he's gone to jail for 20 years for whatever it was he did, but Ray is not having it, and we're stuck sort of in the dark. I feel like I can tell now with this episode that it's trying to be a little bit of a mystery. It's giving us just little breadcrumbs on the trail to the Wicked Witch's house or something. I don't know if that analogy held up as far as I took it, but little puzzle pieces. So I guess we know now that Ray's dad is using their other brother
Yeah.
to break into the house of someone who apparently helped Ray put Mickey, who's Ray's dad, away. But that's just a
Yeah.
clue we have. We don't really know details. It's just a little bit more of the story.
We do know at least that Ray's dad is playing a double life. He's putting on a show for Ray's family. He's the grandpa who's changed his ways and he's out of jail and he doesn't know, wow, Malibu, look at all this great, wonderful stuff that's here. I would never would have known that. And there's probably some truth to that if he's been in jail for 20 years, but I think he's also playing up the like innocent grandfather who's changed his ways. And then in the back or at the same time, he's breaking into houses. He's already killed somebody since being out of jail. Um, he's a bad dude, and Ray knows this, but nobody else does. But it feels like he's bad for like, half bad things. I mean, he did kill like a priest, which normally would be really bad, but the way Ray's reacting is like he must have done something way worse than that even before.
Yeah, Ray seemed to like that. He seemed to approve or something with that little smile we got at the end, right?
I think that's just because it's something that he can use against him. I think he's happy that his father is true to character and is going to give him something to put him away for. That's what I read into it anyway.
Oh, you might have a point there, because I wasn't sure, because I got the impression that this priest was, one of the cliche bad priests who
Oh,
molested boys or something. I got that from the first episode,
well,
but it was
th-
sort of unclear, and I might be reading into that. Not that it's a cliche if you were molested by a priest, that's terrible, but as far as a storytelling device, I feel like it's a cliche.
it is a cliche, and it would fit in with the other 17 cliches of this show that are like, there's the dude who wants to get a sex change, and again, none of these in isolation are cliche, but when you have like all five of them in the same episode, you're like, okay, find out about a black brother from another mother, and then a sex change dude, and then a priest that molests people that we need to kill, and then like it's just like so over the top with like all in one family. Wow.
Let's go to Chloe, the person who wants a sex change. Now we meet Chloe, of course, because he's blackmailing um, an important person in Ray's client base. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to bracket this, but I'm going to need to for you to help me to break down exactly what business they're in and what those partners of his are about. Anyway, but we're back to Chloe for a minute here,
Right.
and as Ray said, it's total amateur hour, the blackmail, and um, they completely defeat it without having to pay money. But something about the interaction makes Ray feel sorry for Chloe and try to get money to pay her for her sex change operation anyway. So we've seen Ray do things that aren't in the best interest of the client a couple times now. This is sort of his thing. He's impulsive
Yeah.
and he does these things. But what is it about these people makes Ray want to do it? He's just a do-gooder. He wants to help people. He
I
sees
know. He's kind of
vulnerable
got
people. I don't quite get it.
my only thing that I see as a central theme is he's got this sensitive side of like nobody understands him in his regular life, and he continually seems to connect better with people who are not part of his day to day, which is a typical human characteristic and a theme that's been explored before. If you actually had to live with these people and make a real relationship out of it, it would be a lot harder, but it's easier to feel good about treating those who are furthest away from you the best. That's what I'm getting out of it.
And that does show Ray's impulsivity. That's a big thing. And
Right.
we also see sometimes the bad aspects of his impulsivity in wanting to hurt people. I did like when he was mad that his dad Mickey was with his family, grabs the gun, and his guy, what's his name, Avi or something like that, and and I liked that Avi was tougher than Ray in that moment.
Right.
Normally, the main character who's the badass is the badass over everyone, but he's got this guy who can switch things and take the gun away from Ray. I did sort of
Yeah.
enjoy that little bit.
I did too. And that dude is like a badass through and through. He like it's more than just that one scene. Wow, he can just take out anyone. He's like Superman.
Right. And if you're in Ray's business, you want a guy like that, I'm sure.
Exactly.
One thing I was very happy to see a little bit more of Catherine Menig this week. I don't know if you are a fan of hers already, but if you see more of her in this, you will become a fan of her. I think her trademark is she sparkles and she creates instant chemistry with everyone she's on screen with. That's one how I read one person put it, and I totally agree.
Wait, who was she? I'm sorry.
She is the person who works with Ray, who's at a desk most of the time, and she also
Oh, yeah.
money to Chloe.
Yeah, but we only get to see her not that much. But yeah, she did a great job when we did see
I
her.
know. I want to see her a lot more. She was the best part of the TV show The L Word,
Okay.
which I guess you never saw. Otherwise, you would definitely recognize her. Um, yeah. Anyway, like to see a little bit more of her, and I hope we get to.
Less of Ray's wife, 'cause she's sort of the opposite.
Yeah, she is getting tiresome. I will admit it. The whole family in general. I wanted to say this. I'm glad you mentioned that. I just didn't feel like the family had ever met before. They just weren't gelling or
Right.
interacting with the grandpa or each other very believably. I don't know if because the kids are really bad actors or Paula Malcolmson is just trying too hard with her accent to be the good actor that I've seen her be in several other things. It's just not working, that family. It's not gelling.
Right, and unfortunately, that's like the one thing going for Ray as his driving force of doing his shady deeds and being conflicted. It's for his family, but at the same time, really, that's your family? I don't know. Too bad.
Yeah, yeah. And so I don't know if the show's just not, if that's the problem with the show, that that's supposed to be Ray's big time motivation, do something for the family. If it is, it's a shame because I just don't care about this family when I watch them. So I hope
Yeah.
there's something deeper, but at the same time, if there is something deeper, it better show it to us fast before I just completely lose interest because I don't know why I care about Ray's life.
Yeah, so mini bracket conversation here. What do you rate a show that you don't end up finishing? That's going to be interesting because are you allowed to rate it? And this is very meta. It's like I didn't see the whole thing, but I still feel I can give it a rating, or maybe I'm not allowed, and I just say I didn't finish it. We'll have to figure that out.
Uh, assuming we don't finish it, right?
Oh, right, yeah. I mean, because this one still has a shot. We're not done yet. Yeah, fair point.
All right, that'll probably be something that comes up at least at some point on this show. But speaking of brackets, um, who are these people he works with? What business exactly do they have? They just have Ray and Partners Fixers. Is that what they have on their shingle?
Yeah, fixers. Yeah, just they're in the phone book under fixer. I'm not sure because the other guys who are his partners seem like weaselly and businesslike and back office people. Maybe that's you need those. You need the muscle men, and then you need the accountants slash dudes who play
Screamer
golf. And yes, yeah,
that everyone hangs up on.
yeah, exactly. But they seem to be running a day-to-day business here, and they've got to. I wonder if we're going to see any of the cover story because what they're really doing is totally illegal and. That's all we see is the illegality and the illegitimacy of everything that they do. But then on the surface, they have offices and phones and guests and secretaries who presumably don't know all of the behind the scenes racket. I'd love to see more of that, to be honest. I don't think that this could be pulled off so easily as it's portrayed in the show. I want to see more of the double-sided business, but that's just me.
Yeah, if there is some, and I just wish they start showing it to us quickly because I am getting bored and it actually is in danger of us not finishing.
Right.
But Bob, do you have a strong enough opinion to know whether or not we're going to keep recapping at least one more week?
I'll do one more, sure. I
All
mean,
right.
this episode wasn't worse than the first one. It just wasn't better either. But now that I've seen two, the momentum was enough for me to be like, okay, you haven't redeemed yourself, but you haven't dug yourself all the way into the hole. So sure,
Mhm,
I'll keep going.
that's about how I feel too. And especially when we're in a little bit of a there aren't a lot of shows that we're recapping, so it could get
Right.
bumped out, but nothing's here to bump it yet.
Yeah. Yet. Yes.